Since we're concerned with dynamics, we have to go to two major dynamic questions. What keeps things the way they are instead of a little bit different? And what keeps things the way they are instead of very different? The answer to the first question is roughly homeostasis. That is, there are negative feedbacks which respond to a perturbation in such a way as to ameliorate the effect of the perturbation. We understand that in physiology, where when it gets cold, we can shiver. And the shiver is an increase in muscular contractions, which increases the burning of sugar and therefore produces heat. And when it's very hot, we can sweat, and the evaporation is cooling. When we feel hunger, we eat, and it even seems to be the case that our hunger for particular foods is related to nutritional deficiencies we might be suffering. So at the physiological level, it's obvious. At a population level, there tends to be an increase in the birth rate when a population is depleted by war or by plagues. Sometimes it's the question.
I didn't catch what you said about the feedback.
Okay. Feedback is the effect of your actions coming back on yourself. It could be positive or negative. A positive feedback enhances what you already did. A negative feedback reduces it, ameliorates it. As an example, the Canadian government once decided that the way to reduce traffic congestion is to make the highways wider, have more lanes. It makes common sense, the direct action, to have a lot of cars, you spread them out more, there's less congestion. The feedback in that system, highways are wider, it's easier to commute. So what happened was that the congestion remained the same, but there were simply more people on the road anyway. In the economy, a negative feedback is that if the inventories increase, the price goes down, making effective demand larger, which reduces the inventory. So that's a negative feedback loop. The predator-prey relationship is a negative feedback loop. I think it's next week or the week after, we have a whole session devoted to understanding of this dynamics. But the thing is that you have feedbacks in all systems of any complexity. There are positive feedbacks. For instance, in the climate change, the melting of snow is part of a positive feedback loop because snow reflects away the sunlight. When the snow melts, the substrate is darker, it absorbs more light, more heat is absorbed, that melts even more snow, increasing the absorption of heat. So this is one of the positive feedbacks which accelerates global warming. On the other hand, an increase in atmospheric heat increases evaporation. And evaporation is a cooling process. So in the struggle around climate change, the complexity of it is a result that there are positive and negative feedbacks in the same system. A baby cries. This produces awareness in the caregivers, who then might come back and either change the baby or feed it, depending on circumstances, removing the crying. So the baby's initial action gives rise to a chain of events which reduces the original stimulus. That's what makes it a negative feedback. On the other hand, if somebody is sitting there drinking and gets annoyed and goes over and whacks the baby, that increases the crying. The crying then increases the abuse. And the positive feedback leads to a vicious circle that could be totally destructive. And once again, we have to say that in all systems of any complexity, there are combinations of negative and positive feedback, some of them immediate and rapid, some of them delayed, long-term. And whenever there's a negative feedback, you're preventing some change by instituting another change.